Baby, you the one I live for. Mommy's by your side till the end and through whatever. Yeah, this is our journey together. You're special cause you're different. Never let them tell you different. Yeah, you can rely on my love for forever. You and I against the world, against the world, yeah, against the whole world.
Welcome back to my channel. As you can tell, like, the lighting's a little off, but hey, you know, I wanted to get this video in, and of course it's the kids' bedtime, so I'm able to squeeze it into my day. But yeah, I'm all snuggled in here because I just want to feel comfortable and have the setting right, you know. And if you guys notice, I dyed my hair. If you guys don't know me, I dye my hair all the time, so you'll see me with blue hair, sometimes even like burgundy-ish tone or blonde, then I'll go dark. So I'm all over the place, but hey, we got it, right? I wanted to do this Q&A just because I do want to answer some of the questions that I've been asked in this journey. I did ask you guys if you guys had any questions, let me know. I did get a good response. I have a really good amount of questions, which I appreciate all the support and everything you guys have done for me. Like, I see it, like, you know, I've had a good amount of people reach out to me with my past videos, and really pushes me to go above and beyond with this channel. Okay, so let's get started. The first question was, when did you find out Jaden had autism? I found out Jaden had autism about, like, officially diagnosed, it was gonna be like in April of before he turned 3. So he turned 3 in July, so that year on April, that's when I found out. I asked for a psychological evaluation, which is actually where you guys could ask for, and they diagnosed him through IRC, which is Inland Regional Center. Mentality wise, I had already known. I had probably like 2 months before my psych eval. I have a friend who you guys are gonna meet on this channel. She has kids with autism, so I pretty much asked her, like, hey, like, do you think my son might have autism? And she pretty much said, like, oh, I see some signs there. So pretty much mentally I was already getting prepared to that stage where, like, okay, I think something's there, you know. So when I went into the psych evaluation, I had already mentally prepared myself that I was just gonna go there to find out the level of it and not really find out that he had autism. And it was thanks to my mom, because she set me up for that mentality. So if it wasn't for her, I think I would have taken it a lot harder. But yeah, pretty much that's when I found out. How did you feel? When I was feeling like I was like, okay, something's wrong, when my friend told me, I felt kind of like worried, because I was like, what am I gonna do? Like, what's gonna happen? Like, what do I do? Like, that was my main thing. What am I gonna do? Like, what do I have to do from here on out? Because once you guys realize, I literally didn't have nobody in the beginning. I had to do all the research myself. Like, if you guys don't know, I'm actually from California, so over here getting resources, you have to know people to actually let you know where those resources are. Some social workers and some doctors will actually help you on the way, but unfortunately that wasn't my case. My doctor was pretty much a dick. He didn't, till this day, he'll probably like doesn't even believe in autism. That's why I switched doctors, but that's a whole other video. But yeah, I felt like as a mother, you don't want to be told something's wrong with your child. And of course, like, you do hit the in denial stage, but I hit the in denial stage when he was speech delayed. That's where I hit it, where, like, I'm like, he's gonna be fine, he'll speak eventually, you know. And I hold on to that, but thankfully at 2.5 I was just starting to get resources for him. But as far as like autism, when he was diagnosed, I felt like it was hard. it's a process. It's definitely a process. It's definitely a change in the way you view things. You think a lot about the future, and I don't think that I should have. I mean, till this day, I don't think about the future. I should, but I don't, because then you get depressed and like, don't, you know, at that mentality I was like, what happens if my son never speaks? Because of course there's children that are nonverbal that literally don't ever speak. So at that moment I was like, what happens if my son never speaks? So I was stuck in the simple fact that maybe I'll never have a conversation with him. But I went way too far out, and I advise you don't. I advise you take it day by day, because my son started saying his first word at 3.5. So things could happen, things could change, and obviously, like, just take it day by day. If you think so much about the future, you're just gonna put yourself in a big depression. Okay, so how did your family react? How did my family react? My mom was very like supportive. I'm gonna be very honest. At first she's like, oh my god, like, they're putting a label on him. I don't think you want to do that because he's gonna be labeled. And it was more about the label as far as like future wise, getting a job and like school. So it was really hard, but then she came around and she was like, good. But I had a lot of support from her, and thanks to her, like, I've had like a really good backbone. She mentally prepared me for the psych evaluation. So if it wasn't for her, I think the psych evaluation would have been a lot harder for me. And she was actually there with me at the same time. So like that actually helped. So she was really my backbone. Other family members from my boyfriend's side, they were really supportive. They told me like, hey, you know, we're in this together. A lot of them were like really supportive, like, we're in this together and stuff like that. You're gonna realize that sometimes, like, if you decide to tell certain people, be aware that people deal with it differently. It's like a mourning. You're going through a phase. Everybody's gonna deal with it differently. Unfortunately, I vented to someone that was close to me, and I told her, and she didn't have the reaction I wanted. Pretty much this person was stuck on the why and not like, what do we have to do from now? And believe it or not, I never asked the why. I never cared for the why, because I'm like, okay, well, this is what's going on, and I gotta find out what I have to do next. I never was like, oh, why does my son have autism? Why? Like, never did I really think about the why, you know, since the beginning. So I stayed away from there, and I thought about like the what do I have to do next? What can I do to make my son feel better when he's having meltdowns? What is it that I have to do to help others understand autism? What do I have to do to figure out what triggers him and what doesn't trigger him? I mean, it's a game where you're trying to figure out what's gonna affect him and what isn't, you know. So definitely take note that you can't always talk to everybody about autism. Have a block list mentality, like, you know, Facebook, you block people, people that are negative. Have that mentality in your mind when you're opening up about autism to someone. And once they enter that block list, don't talk to them about autism. So I have done that. I have been like, okay, I'm gonna not talk to this person about what's going on, because apparently, like, their views a lot different than mine, and it's just gonna put me down, and it's just gonna take a lot of energy out of me. So I do have that mentality where, like, I don't share a lot of things about autism with certain people, and that's perfectly fine. You could have that, you know. I was very open since day one about autism. I posted it on Facebook. I let everybody know, like, autism didn't define my son, and he was diagnosed that day. So I was very open since day one, and I know people that aren't, and I don't blame them. it's hard. It's hard because you get everybody's opinions. Everybody's like, oh, don't worry, he'll eventually talk, or oh, it's okay, like it's something that's gonna go away, you know. So definitely be careful with who you share this information to, as far as family goes. No, don't take things personally if they don't react the way you want them to react. Definitely don't take it personally. Okay. How old was Jaden? Jaden, like I said, he was gonna be 3 years old, so it was like a few months before he turned 3. What made you get services? What made me get services is like, okay, well, he's speech delayed, what do I have to go from here? And pretty much him, like, I knew that I could probably do something about it, and I did a lot of research. When I went to the doctor told me like, he should be talking, but he's fine, don't worry about it. And then it was like, I think like 2 appointments he told me that, and by the 3rd appointment I was like, we have to do something about it, because now he's getting older, he's 2.5, he's not seeing not even mom, dad. And then he referred me to Head Start program, which, if you know, Head Start is a little bit older. It's not for like kids that are 2.5. So I did a lot of phone calls. I came across one receptionist that told me like, oh, you're looking for early Head Start, and the only one that does early Head Start is Inland Regional and all the county, you know, that I'm in. So I contacted them. I had an appointment done. If you guys want the information for Inland Regional, I'll put it in the description box, definitely down below, the number and all that. Definitely they did an assessment, and from there it was really hard because they asked you questions, and I think at that assessment it really hit me how delayed my son was. Like, I didn't realize how much he wasn't doing until that assessment, because they ask you so many questions. And at that point we even thought Jaden couldn't even hear, because we would say Jaden and he wouldn't even acknowledge us. So we did like a test there for his hearing, where they did like noises behind him and he would turn, and then they're like, he hears perfectly fine, it's just that he doesn't want to acknowledge you guys. So yeah, that's how I went about getting services. It was with Inland Regional Center, and pretty much the motivation was my son, and I think that should be anybody's motivation, you know. Did you feel bad in public with meltdowns? Meltdowns is really hard. I mean, I've talked to other people that have kids with autism, and I've talked to even adults that have Asperger's, and they've even told me like, California is hard because a lot of people are ignorant here. When there's a meltdown, like, everybody's just staring at you, you hear comments, and it's hard. It's hard. You feel judged, you know. I mean, I heard Florida like is very understanding with autism. Not here. Right here is just like, they considered it as, you're just bad parenting, you know. So if my son's having like a meltdown at Target, everybody will look. And I think I dealt with the meltdowns in the beginning. It was really hard. Now it doesn't faze me. There's only one place that really like gets me, and like it takes a toll out of me, and that's Ailani's dance class, like the studio. I could tell everybody's judgy, you know, but now it's getting a lot better, but I'll save that for another video. But definitely it's hard. It's hard. You want to go to the car and just cry it out because someone said some dumb remark like, oh, if that was my child, I'd spank them, or you know, and then you get comments from people that don't even have kids. Like, it's hard. It's, picture yourself like your own child even just hitting you, and you having to hold back like your anger, your emotion, and like your tears because your son's pulling your hair for some reason, or like it's too much sensory, or it's just a lot of people, or they want something they can't have, just stuff like that. It could be any little thing. So try to keep a straight face while your son's having a meltdown like that. Yeah, it's hard. Especially when you have another child with you and you're just going to the store by yourself. That's hard too, because then I had Ailani once like, why is she looking at us? And I was like, I'm sorry, mama, it's just she's never seen a kid with autism cry or have a meltdown. And then automatically they'll just like, woo, gotta go that way, you know? They just, yeah. But now I'm doing a lot better. Definitely, it doesn't faze me anymore. Were you open about his diagnosis? Yes, since day one. I posted it on social media and let everybody know, because that's just, I've always been an open book. I've always been very open about everything. So after I actually opened up about it, I had a lot of friends come and tell me that even their kid had autism, or they suspect that their child had autism too. So definitely, like, it opened a door of me helping others and me learning from others too, because I definitely learned a lot from other parents that have gone through this process a lot, or have gone through this process already. So definitely it helped me a lot being as open, because I was learning as well. At what age did Jaden start saying words? 3.5. Like I said, he started, his first word I think was dad. Yeah, it was his dad. Do you think autism is the cause of separation and divorce? That's a, it's so funny, because it's like, this is very, very like this is a lot, like, where a lot of parents actually talk about this, you know. The divorce rate is a lot, and separation, of course, is higher. But coming from a little background about myself, I was a paralegal, so I did a lot of family law. So I dealt with a lot of divorce cases and like separation and all that. I don't know. I think the only reason that a separation would happen or a divorce would happen is if you guys are not seeing eye to eye. Definitely. If you and your partner are not agreeing on a certain situation about how to go about it, like services, maybe one wants services and one doesn't want services, I could see where it conflicts. And I'm the type of person, like, thankfully, and I'm so blessed to have the man that I have, that he's never told me not to get services. He's never stopped me from getting services, and he's never told me like, why are you getting this, why are you doing this? So thankfully, I never dealt with that. He always had my back and he always trusted me. So I think that had he not been like that, it would definitely cause a separation. Because it's like, I'm gonna do for my child and I'm gonna do what's best for my child. And if you're not gonna support me 100% on getting services, then I could see where it would affect our relationship. So yes, the rate of separation and divorce is a lot higher. It is hard because your child needs a lot more attention, and that's a lot of more attention that you're taking away from your spouse. But one thing is to always give everybody, try to give everybody this, like, attention. I can't say the same amount, because that'd be me saying something that it can't be done. Because I do have to tell you that the kids that do have autism take a lot of energy, a lot of time, and a lot of attention from the other people in your family, you know. So I could see where it affects and where it can be conflict between partners. But I think coming into an agreement in the middle, meeting in the middle, and doing what's best for your child. One thing is your relationship, and one thing is the relationship with you and your child. I think, like, your child comes first. And if your child needs services, okay, we got to do this for him. And let's not stop getting services, or let's not get services just because of your personal input or your beliefs. At the end of the night, it's only going to affect your child. So I could see where separation and divorce could actually have a cause, but I don't think autism is the main cause. I think it's just the communication. Definitely communication. Okay, guys, I just realized that I was like going through the video and I realized that it was literally like 30 minutes long. It was 30 minutes long. I was like, oh my god, this is way too long. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut the videos in half, making it a two-part Q&A. So you guys just finished watching the first part. Stay tuned for the second part. Bye.
It's a journey.